What's up guys, Josh here of Yugatech, and last year we were able to get our hands on the ASUS ROG 2, which really set the benchmark for mobile gaming. Well, today we're going to be taking a look at their latest hardware beast, the ASUS ROG Phone 3. So, without further ado, let's check it out. At just first glance, the signature ROG aesthetic is pretty evident, and as you can see from this year's iteration, we have an even sleeker look while maintaining that robust construction. It also seems like a lot of elements here are inspired by the ROG Phone 2 when it comes to both design and performance, with some bumped up specs. We get a massive 6.59-inch screen, the latest flagship Snapdragon processor, 8 to 16 gigabytes of RAM, a generous 6000 mAh battery, and is covered in glass. It's definitely on the chunky side of things, but still comes in at just 9.8mm thin and has a weight of 240 grams. Not too thick, but boasts a good amount of heft. At the back, again shares a similar design language as its predecessor, but with a few upgrades. We have the horizontally aligned rear shooters, microphone, LED flash module, and an RGB light for the Lightning Armor case. But this time, instead of two, we have a triple rear camera configuration. You can also see there's a window here as well that showcases your heatsink underneath, which is actually made out of metal, unlike the previous ROG phones where they were mostly just there for cosmetic purposes. Next to the heatsink is the air vent covered with some waterproof mesh to avoid any unwanted material getting into the phone while still being able to dissipate the heat, and finally right in the middle is your signature ROG logo, completely configurable with all that RGB goodness. At the front, we have your secondary camera at the top right corner, a notification light on the left, and your front-firing stereo speakers on each side of the device. We do get identical bezels at the top and bottom for that extra immersion when positioning the phone in landscape mode. Nothing at the top except for two antenna bands on each corner and noise-canceling mic, which follows consistently at the bottom, where you can also find the primary mic and the off-center USB-C port, another signature ROG design. No 3.5mm audio jack, but we'll show you why that isn't much of a problem later on. On the left, we have your dual SIM card tray with a cool good luck have fun labeling, followed by a side-mounted Type-C port which serves as either a secondary charging slot as well as for connecting to other ROG phone accessories like the Aero Active Cooler which comes with the box. On the right are the volume rocker buttons, the power button with red accents, another noise-canceling mic, and of course one of the main highlights of this phone, the air triggers which are located on each of the two corners. As for display, the ROG Phone 3 gets a 6.59-inch AMOLED screen with a maximum refresh rate of 144Hz and a touch latency of 25 milliseconds. It's also protected by the latest Corning Gorilla Glass 6, just like the rear panel, has HDR10, a pixel density of 399 pixels per inch, and boasts a maximum screen brightness of 650 nits, which is plenty bright. Now, when you think of purchasing a phone like this, the main reason is probably not so you can use it as a superb on-the-go shooter, but with a 64-megapixel Sony IMX686 sensor as your primary lens, along with a 13-megapixel ultra-wide and 5-megapixel macro, picture quality is nonetheless still very great with nice color reproduction and detail. And for video, the ROG Phone 3 is capable of recording up to a crazy 8K resolution at 30 frames per second, 4K up to 60 frames per second, and even features Hyper Steady for those smooth shots. We also get multiple camera features, and just for a quick rundown in order, we have Pro Video, Time-Lapse, Slow-Mo, Motion Tracking, Video, Photo, Portrait, Panoramic, Night Mode, Pro Mode, and Macro Mode. So there's definitely a lot of options here, all of which are really handy to have if you're into some mobile photography. Overall, we get really nice vivid shots, especially under daylight. On a dimmer setting such as indoor or overcast shots, you'll find detail to be still very clear with slightly washed out colors which can easily be fixed by turning HDR mode on. And when it comes to low light shots, some can be hit or miss depending on what you're shooting, like when it comes to cityscapes, we get some apparent noise, while for the most part things look pretty well as long as there's some ample lighting. For selfies, the 24-megapixel front camera does a superb job as well and doesn't fail getting all those hairs and blemishes in the frame. Portrait mode can also be hit or miss though, and sometimes has issues with getting that subject background separation on point, but as a whole package, they're pretty great. As far as software goes, we've got Android 10 running out of the box, skinned with ROG UI, which has always complemented the whole gaming aesthetic of the phone. We also get Armoury Crate console that gives this device full customization capabilities, from changing the colors of the RGB lighting, setting profiles, to overclocking the CPU for maximum performance when turning X mode on, which even comes with some sweet looking animations. Swiping to the right in-game, I'll show you the Game Genie window, which are basically a bunch of shortcuts to the current status of the phone, and even has some quick buttons for things like setting your refresh rate, streaming your game on the fly, and so much more. Now, it is common for phones nowadays to have game optimization features, but none of them come close to how customizable X mode is. Security-wise, we have the in-display fingerprint scanner, which is responsive as expected, and of course we have Face Unlock as well to top it all off. For ROG UI, there isn't really any bloatware apart from the essential tools, which is great for saving extra space. But that shouldn't really matter right now since our unit comes with 512GB of internal memory, but we do also have a 256GB variant. So far, everything looks great, and I would love to show you guys each and every single feature of this phone, but let's dive into what this phone was actually meant to do. The ROG Phone 3 is equipped with a Snapdragon 865 CPU up to 3.1 GHz with an Adreno 650 GPU, while the Strix Edition uses a lower Snapdragon 865 up to 2.84 GHz, both of which are perfectly capable of running all the latest, most graphically demanding games that you can find on the Play Store. So far, we've tested a few number of games, namely PUBG, Call of Duty Mobile, Mobile Legends, and F1 Mobile. Now, it isn't required per se, but the Active Aero Cooler 3 that comes along with the phone does help a whole lot when gaming, especially when maxing out the graphics settings, which we're going to do for all of our games, just cause we can. Moreover, slapping this external fan keeps the device cooler by up to 4 degrees and is mounted right in the middle where that heatsink is located, further helping dissipate all that unwanted heat. Apart from the RGB labeling, another thing that's pretty cool is this kickstand that you can pop out to prop the device on landscape mode. Below it, we have a Type-C port for easy charging while playing your favorite game, and a pass-through 3.5mm jack, which is a really nice touch for those who use wired headphones. Alternatively, ASUS conveniently included a USB-C to 3.5mm jack adapter in case you prefer that as well. Nice! As you would expect, everything runs flawlessly smooth no matter what title you throw at it, with no hiccups at all. If you're used to playing games on a regular phone screen, this one might blow you away, as even I don't think my mobile experience has been amplified this much before. It's almost as if I've taken my gaming computer and compressed it into a portable form factor. What makes everything even more immersive are the air triggers, which are fully mappable to do whatever you want it to. Since I'm an avid FPS player, I usually have these set to aim and fire, but you can map these to do almost whatever you like to do for your apps and games. You can control the sensitivity, vibration, and even how the triggers should respond when pressed. And honestly, this alone is enough to keep you locked in your seat, gaming for unreasonable amounts of time, which personally is really hard to do on a normal phone if that's sort of your thing. Using Steam Link to play and control everything through your phone is actually something more doable as well with the help of those air triggers. You do have the option to hook the ROG Phone up with its dedicated docks and accessories if you're willing to pay that extra sum. But for now, I'm pretty satisfied with this setup right here. The dual front-firing stereo speakers help you stay immersed in your game, as they have separate channels so you can tell if something is coming from the left or from the right. They're quite loud as well, and when you're facing directly in front of them, it's as if your ears cup around each side of the speaker, giving you a more surround sound experience, which I think is one of the best features you can experience as an on-the-go multimedia device. For benchmarks, we get an overall whopping score of 625,327 points on Antutu, while on Geekbench we get a single core score of 983, which looks like is currently the highest single core score as of this video. We also get 3,055 points for multi-core, so all in all, this is undoubtedly one of the most powerful phones out there today. If you want to know more, check out the rest of our benchmark scores right now. Now, with all of that aside, how long does the 6,000 mAh battery actually last for? Well, honestly, just like any other device, it depends on how you use it. Gaming for hours definitely won't be a problem, as I only experienced an average of 30% battery drain from playing 2 hours straight, even with the Aero Active Cooler plugged in, leaving me so much more room to accomplish other things without having to deal with charging it again, which, mind you, takes about an hour and a half to fully charge from 0 to 100% with its USB-C to USB-C cable and 30-watt quick charging brick. But on regular use, the ROG Phone can last for about 2 whole days, which means it's really not just a good companion for gaming, but for everyday life as well. Overall, apart from the killer hardware specs, I really appreciate the design and detail ASUS put into this device, not just with the phone itself, but also with how they manage the ROG ecosystem as a whole. The ROG Phone 3 comes in 3 variants. We have the Strix edition with an 8 plus 256GB configuration, which comes in at 39,995 pesos, and the Classic edition, which is priced at 49,995 pesos for the 12 plus 256GB variant, and 54,995 pesos for 16GB of RAM and 512GB of internal storage. So, the ASUS ROG Phone 3. Arguably the best phone you can get right now for gaming. What do you guys think? Is it a beast or is it a beast? Let us know in the comment section below what you guys think, and if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe, hit that bell icon, and be sure to visit Yugatech.com for the latest tech news and reviews. This has been Josh, and as always, stay safe.